You guys gonna do it tonight or what?
Stop!
The hell is that?
What does he want?
Can we help you?
Well, maybe we're on his property.
Hey, man, turn your lights off.
That guy was a freak.
So let's get out of here. All right, let's go.
Come on, he's gone. You see anybody?
No, nobody.
Hello?
I don't think anyone's here.
Hey, was that house of wax? It is wax. Literally.
This is weird.
Looks like a hell of a party. Look how detailed this is. Tell me this doesn't look real.
You're saying that that's a real person underneath?
They're all wax, everyone. Help! Please, somebody! They're out there. You gotta be careful.
I am being careful.
What's going on?
Hello, everyone. I am Sean, and welcome once again to my horror corner. I tell you, I had to push it this week to stay on schedule, especially after today, which has been absolutely insane, but managed to get to it, got it done, and we'll be on schedule with this video coming out tomorrow the way I had hoped. I will say, because I had talked about on previous episodes, starting the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, there was a little bit of a delay in the green screen that I had ordered. Everything is back on track. It's supposed to be arriving in the next couple of days. And as I had said, I really wanted to have that set up and working to make everything look better whenever I started reviewing that entire franchise of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So it's supposed to be here in a couple of days. Hopefully this is the last video you are going to see of me where you get to see my ridiculous bedroom. But then I'll get that green screen put together this weekend, practice with it a little bit, make sure I know what I'm doing, and get the first video out for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward to it. But for tonight, a little bit of a sidestep since we didn't get to start Texas Chainsaw quite yet, and just picked out a random movie. I did it the same way I did last week. I went over and looked at my collection and just waited for something to jump out at me, and this one did. So we are going to be talking about tonight House of Wax from 2005. I'm saying tonight because I'm recording this in the evening on January 15th. It will hopefully, all things go well, and it will be up and available in the morning. So yeah, that's why I keep saying tonight, which it may not be night when you're watching this, who knows? But yeah, work with me. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Before I get into it, though, last week I talked about some things that I had picked up and added to my collection with horror. I showed you a new Freddy figure I had gotten. I showed you a autographed Robert Englund picture that I had gotten. Nothing really been added in the last couple of days. Looked around a little bit, thought about doing some things, but really haven't done anything here in the last couple of days. Unfortunately, there are bills that have to be paid as well, so that's kind of where the focus has been here in the last little bit. But hopefully be able to continue to add some more things to the collection and show you guys that as well, whether it's movies, physical media, or more figures, pictures, posters, whatever. I do have some shelves that I had just got. You probably see them in a box behind me right there that I'm going to work on putting together this weekend so that I can do a little bit more organizing and put some stuff up that's a little bit cluttered right now. After I do that, I'm going to take pictures of my Freddy collection, my Chucky collection, Jason, Michael, Leatherface, Ghostface, the different collections I have of each one of these characters, and post them on my social media. So, if you're interested, be following me on social media just so I can, you can see my collection and tell me what you think. And I'm interested in seeing yours as well. So, if you're not following me on social media, do so, and I'll give you those links at the end of the show. Um, but let's go ahead and talk about House of Wax from 2005. If you've never seen this movie or don't know the premise, I'm going to, as always, give you a kind of a brief synopsis here of the film, um, and then we'll go from there. So, House of Wax says a group of college friends are en route to a football game when they wind up with car trouble near a ghost town. While searching for help, they stumble upon a wax museum where they find things are not quite what they seem. The group then finds himself being hunted by someone wanting to make them part of their collection. Very, very, very basic, very brief synopsis of House of Wax for 2005. I will say, so I saw this movie. Um, I don't think I saw this one in theaters. I may have, but I don't remember seeing this one in theaters. I believe I saw it as soon as it came out, um, available to rent somewhere, and so I checked it out that way. Um, not to get too far ahead of myself, but I really enjoyed this movie the first time I saw it. I've seen it multiple times since then. I watched it again right before starting to record just to kind of refresh myself. Um, this movie will probably, like I said, I'm a little bit ahead of myself here, and I'll backtrack in a second, but this movie would probably go down as one of my uh, all-time favorite comfort movies. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen this film. If I'm just scrolling through channels and it's on, I watch it. If I am um, looking for something to watch and not finding anything and I see it, I'll pick it a lot of times. Um, and then there, are times when I intentionally just go purposely look for it and find it to watch it. So, um, definitely a big fan of this film. We'll get into just exactly how much of a fan here in just a moment. Sorry. Excuse me for the delay there. I left my television on when I got ready to start recording, and it was way too loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. If you could, I apologize. I could hear it, and it was bothering me and distracting me a little bit, so I wanted to fix that. So yeah, I can't tell you. I definitely watch this movie at least once a year, and sometimes a lot more, and have ever since I saw it the first time. So let's get into some facts about the movie. House of Wax was released May 6th of 2005, directed by, here we go with the names again. Um, maybe Jamie. I'm not sure if that's how the first name is pronounced or not. Colette Serra, uh, in directorial debut. Screenplay by Chad and Carrie Hayes. It's based on the short story by Charles Belden, just entitled Waxworks, which would then go on to be responsible for Mystery of the Wax Museum. Later, the original House of Wax, starring Vincent Price, and then now this 2005, somewhat of a remake, very loosely a remake. I mean, it has the same uh, plot with someone using real people to turn into wax figures, but the story surrounding the plot then is very different. So a very loose remake, I guess you would say. Produced by Joel Silver, Robert Zemeckis, and Susan Levin. Cinematography done by Stephen Windon. Music by John Ottman. Production companies were Village Roadshow Pictures and Dark Castle Entertainment. It was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. Has a runtime of 113 minutes, and then a budget of $40 million and made $70 million at the box office. So did not even double its money. Um, and when you look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores, 28% of critics like this film, and only 44% of the audience. So when you look at the box office production and you look at the ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, not a very popular film, not a big hit at all. And then yet I just told you how much I love the movie. Um, I have heard a lot of people shit on this film, but I feel like in the last year, maybe 2 years, I've started to find people who feel very similar to this film, um, in the way that I do. I think this film is starting to develop more of an appreciation and more of an audience. Um, Maybe the people that like this film just don't get on Rotten Tomatoes, or the number would be a lot different. It's hard to say. But I think this is just one where critics miss it, and I guess if 44% of the audience is all that likes it according to Rotten Tomatoes, then um, there's 56% of people that I think are missing something here, because I really don't understand the dislike for this film. We'll come back to that. Let me go over the cast very quickly for this film. Just a few names I'm going to mention. So we have Elisha Cuthbert as Carly, Chad Michael Murray as Nick, Brian Van Holt playing both Bo and Vincent Sinclair, Paris Hilton as Paige, Jared Padalecki as Wade, John Abrams as Dalton, Robert Ricard as Blake, and then Damian Harriman as Lester. And I'm going to come back to that in just a minute, because there's something that was a lot of speculation about this film, especially when you see the end of it. But if you look into casting for films and other things about the movie, it's not just speculation. It's the way it was. So we'll come back to that here in just a few moments. A couple of other things I just want to mention about this film very briefly. It was filmed in Australia, and there was a big deal with this film where Village Roadshow Studios, uh, Village Theme Park Management, and Warner Brothers Australia all sued the special effects expert David Fletcher and Wax Productions because of a fire that took place on set. A huge fire that did a tremendous amount of damage. It was a $7 million lawsuit for negligence. Apparently, the company had no firefighters on set in case of an outbreak, and they also used timber props near naked flames, which, to be honest, I don't know what the hell that means, but apparently that's bad and not a good idea. So, but I kept looking even before I got ready to record. I took some extra time to just try to find the results of this lawsuit, and I'm not finding it anywhere. So I don't know what exactly happened. If you know, leave me a comment and let me know, because I'm curious how that went. And one of the writers, or one of the guys that wrote the screenplay, um, did mention that they had planned a prequel, that there was set to be a prequel for this film dealing with the Sinclairs. But because of the poor box office numbers, the prequel was canceled. I would like to have seen it. I wish that it had not been canceled. I would like to have seen where they went. And based on the way the film ends, and we'll get into that here in a few moments, I would like to have seen a sequel. I think there might have been something that they could have done there. Um, they at least left the door open for it. So let's talk a little bit about this movie, kind of like I did with See No Evil. I'm not going to go through a complete plot walkthrough. I'll just point out some things here and there that I liked about the film, or if there was something I didn't like about it, we'll talk about that as well. One of the first things I want to mention, and when I previously had this YouTube channel, um, I talked about this movie on it as well. And, there was one of the places that this movie got a lot of backlash, and maybe this is the reason for the majority of the poor numbers, especially at the box office, is that Paris Hilton, as I mentioned, stars in this film. And at the time that this movie came out, Paris Hilton was not an incredibly popular figure. And just to put it mildly, I I didn't really, yeah, I don't see anything there. I thought I may have taken a note about that, but I did not. Um, I am not a Paris Hilton fan. Let me say that first of all. I've never have been. Um, for a little while when she was popular, I never really understood why. All of that being said, I don't hate Paris Hilton, and I certainly don't understand the amount of backlash that she was getting. I don't understand the criticism of her performance, because I actually feel like that the acting is pretty good in this film. I like the story. The cinematography is good. The House of Wax looks amazing. Um, I think that the soundtrack and the score are both very good for this film. I really like the soundtrack, actually. I think the score is good. And I think everybody gave good performances. I don't think anyone in this movie did a bad job. Again, we're talking about a, you know, early 2000s or mid 2000s, whatever you want to say, from this time frame horror film. So it's not like we're talking about Oscar worthy performances, but I don't think anyone did a bad job at all. I think everyone did fine, including Paris Hilton. So But there were people talking about, when this movie came out, I remember hearing uh, people making the comment once they find out her character gets killed in the film, come see Paris die, and that was, a big thing. And I don't understand the backlash that she received, the hate that she was receiving. Um, in general, but especially where this movie is concerned. And I do wonder if that played into the poor box office numbers a little bit. Um, her being in the film, I could be wrong, but again, I don't think she did a bad job. I don't think anyone did a bad job in this film. So, um, yeah, I just kind of wanted to briefly mention that as well because I do, like I said, wonder if that hurt the film's performance. Um, but yeah, back to what I was saying. Basically with the film, as we talked about in the brief synopsis, this group, you got three guys, two girls on this trip. They pull over and decide to camp for a night. Wake up the next day and somebody's messed with their car and you kind of get a little bit of a story there with trucks showing up while they're camping and some stuff happening, but not a bad opening at the very beginning. You get something else. You get parents struggling with their children in high chairs, and one of them appears to just be out of their mind while the other one appears normal. But then we get into the plot, and of course then trying to fix the car. Some of them go on to the game. um, Wade, played by Jared Padalecki, and his girlfriend are trying to get his car fixed so that they can go meet. And then they get into all the trouble from there. And we find out, they look into this wax museum, and we begin to find out that these were real people at one time, that these two brothers, Bo and Vincent Sinclair, have turned into wax figures. I think that the gentleman who plays Bo and Vincent, um, Brian Benoit, does an outstanding job. I think he does a great job portraying these two. Uh, Very creepy, so I think Killer is creepy as well. Um, just obvious there's something wrong with these guys, and you do find out a little later that actually the one, Bo appears to be the more sane of the two, and you think Vincent was the crazy one when they were children. You find out it was the other way around. Um, I think the kills are really good in this movie. There's a couple. Paris Hilton's death is good, where Wade, again played by Jared Padalecki, this guy, he goes through some things in this film. He's the first one that actually gets caught. We see him get, the hot wax poured on him, and then later his friend trying to figure out if he's really in there, and just, a lot going on with him. So I felt sorry for that guy in this movie. Dalton's kill is good. Blake's kill takes place off screen, but we still get kind of a shot of what he looks like afterwards. That one looks good. Um, I think the kills are good in this film. I really don't have a problem with anything in this movie other than one small detail. The only thing about this movie that throws me off at all um, is in that the relationship between Chad Michael Murray's character of Nick and Elisha Cuthbert's character of Carly, they're brother and sister. Um, and they do a great job. Again, not saying that they do a bad job. And you definitely get that brother sister vibe through the first two-thirds of the film. But as they become the final characters, something changes to me, and they almost seem to be playing these parts, or these characters are coming across more as love interests other than family. Um, it was very odd to me, just that part. That's the only thing about the film that I thought was weird, because it really almost did seem like they were a couple rather than brother and sister, just the way things were happening. Maybe I read too much into it. Maybe I'm way off basis here, but something about it did seem very odd to me. Um, but again, that's my only issue with this film. Other than that, I think this is an outstanding movie, one of my all-time favorites. Um, Especially when you look at the fact that I'm known for liking movies with Leatherface and Ghostface and Jason and Michael and Freddy and that kind of thing. For this one to not have that kind of villain, um, and still be that high for me is really saying something. And the one thing that I'll mention here towards the end is you find out that this other gentleman who was going to help give them a ride into town, um, to try to find help, you kind of wonder. His name again was Lester, and you kind of wonder because they see him alive at the end of the film. Once they've killed Bo and Vincent, and they've survived, and they're leaving, they pass by him, and he kind of has a weird look on his face and waves. Um, you kind of speculated, did he know? Because apparently there was no one else in this town other than Bo and Vincent. So how would he have known about it and still been alive? And you kind of wonder if he had something to do with it. Well, when you look at actual casting and stuff for this movie, his name is Vincent, or excuse me, Lester Sinclair. So you become aware that he, there is mention towards the end of the film of a third child, and you realize that it's him. So there was a door left open where maybe even a sequel could have happened. But not only did the planned prequel not come to exist, neither has a sequel. And I mean, I don't know what they would have done with it, especially with them leaving. How would you have really made this a sequel, or is it just good to have that open end? And maybe in this case that's better because I don't know where you could have gone in a sequel. But I really would have been interested in seeing the prequel. So House of Wax 2005, like I said, I'm a huge fan. My rating scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being excellent, 4 very good, 3 good, 2 not good, and 1 terrible. House of Wax for me, I would go as far as to say, yeah, this one's a 4.5 for me. I really, really enjoy this film. Right there between very good and excellent. If it wasn't for that little bit that throws me off in the brother-sister relationship towards the end, I would even give it a 5. But this one's a 4.5 for me. I really enjoy House of Wax from 2005. I highly recommend, if you haven't seen it, to check it out. I have it on Blu-ray, and if they ever release it on 4K, I will definitely go with the upgrade on this one because it's just one of my favorite films and a huge comfort movie for me. So that's my thought on House of Wax from 2005. Thank you again for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I really do appreciate all of you who have taken the time to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for that. Numbers continue to slowly increase, so thank you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Follow me on social media. You can find me on Blue Sky, on Instagram, um, Twitter. Used to be, sorry, X used to be Twitter. TikTok. Who knows if TikTok's going to be around much longer or not, but for now, I'm there. So follow me on social media. I do try to follow back as much as possible. And I hope to see you in just a few days with a green screen set up with a better background on it so you don't have to look at this and us to start to get into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.